Alright, we're doing exercise 13b, question 3. I think in this video, we can get through all these 6 questions. They look kind of tricky, but they're actually not that bad. So let's get straight into it. Here we go. Question A. So we need to simplify the following. Here it is, 2x minus 1, then the square root of 2x minus 1. The first thing that I want us to notice is the fact that that and that is the same. So it's like our bases are the same. So don't get thrown off by this square root here. Let's actually rewrite this as 2x minus 1. And we all know that there's an invisible 1 here. It's raised to the power of 1. And over on this side, we're going to rewrite it. Instead of that radical sign, we can write it as 1/2 right there. Now, we know according to our first law, our first index law, when we have the same base as we do here, 2x minus 1 and 2x minus 1, we can add together our indices. So what we're going to end up with is, let me try that again. What we're going to end up with is 2x minus 1, 1 plus 1/2. Then we come down here. Now, what's 1 plus 1/2? Well, it's going to be 2x minus 1, 2 over 2 plus 1 over 2. So I'm just making my denominators the same, which is going to be, drum roll please, 2x minus 1, 3 over 2. And I am going to leave my answer just like that. Hopefully you're able to get that. I'm now going to highlight that in yellow. Then I'm going to get my red pen and there it is. Put a box around it. So that is A completed. Let us know, go to B. So B, look, it's exactly the same logic. I have the same base, so I'm simply going to rewrite it as x minus 1. This time I've got a squared there. And then I've got x minus 1. This is going to be 1/2. Then I'm going to plus them together. X minus 1 squared plus 1/2. That's going to be x minus 1. That's going to be, if I want this to have the same denominator, it's going to have to be 4 over 2, because that's still 2. I'm going to plus that onto it. And what I'm going to wind up with is x minus 1, 5 over 2. And look at that, we did it again. So as you can see, these questions aren't that hard at all. We can get through all of them right now. If you're only stuck on one of them, hopefully you will just skip to the one that you need. But other than that, let's keep on going. Next one. Here we go, x squared plus 1. So what it's going to be is x squared plus 1. There's a 1 there. X squared plus 1. There's a 1/2 there. Look, I'm just going to do this in one step. We know what it's going to be. Oh no, I can't do it. I need to do step by step, because then what's the point of doing these videos if I'm just going to jump to the solution? You might as well just look at the back of the book. I need to provide something of value with these videos, and that is a step-by-step explanation. So as you can see, I gave it common denominators, 2 over 2 plus 1/2. So that means my answer, yet again, is going to be 3 over 2. I'll get my highlight. Put a box around it. Hey presto, we're done. Let's go down to D. D's the same again. Does Cambridge think that we're silly and we don't recognize that this is just the same problem 4 times in a row? My goodness, Cambridge, what are you doing to us? X minus 1, 1/2 equals x minus 1. This is going to be 3 plus 1/2. So I'm going to have to make sure they have common denominators. How am I going to do that? Well, another way to write this would be 6 over 2, because that's still 3. And now I'm going to plus 1 over 2. That's going to be x minus 1. 7 on 2. Look at my answers. That is correct. Highlight, 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 highlight. Whoop, highlight, highlight, highlight. Get my red pen, like so. I put a box around it. Now I come over here. Ooh, this is different. This is different. How do I know it's different? Look at this. We have a plus. Ooh, that's why they put 4 in the row. They wanted to stump us here. You can't stump me. We're onto you. All right. All right, so what we're going to do is, now that we're plussing, we're going to have to make sure they have common denominators. So I'm going to have to make sure that this one has this denominator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to times this by x minus 1 and times the bottom, sorry, Let me put this in black. So as you can see here, I'm making the denominators the same. But whatever I do at the top, I must do to the bottom. So that's going to be that, that's going to be that. Then I come over here, and I'm going to be left with 1 over the square root of x minus 1 plus... Now, when I'm timesing two things with radicals, it's just going to be what's inside of it. So it's just going to be x minus 1 here over 1 times this is simply going to be x minus 1. I'm plussing them together, so that means I just plus my numerators. So it's going to be 1 plus x minus 1 over the square root of x minus 1. Then it's going to be x over the square root of x minus 1. And that is going to be my final answer. There is a different way you can write it. So you could, if you wanted to, write it like this. x minus 1 negative a half. That is also acceptable. So what I've done there is just bring it up and do my numerator and making sure that my indice is now negative, but that is also acceptable. And that's actually the answer they have in the back of the book. So that's why I changed it just then. I want to make sure that you understand what's in the back of the book. We're done. Let's zoom out. Let's just admire all our hard work. Look at that. I find it absolutely beautiful to look at this. All right, let's keep on going. Let's come down here. Let's do F. All right, what are we going to do? All right, we're back to multiplying. So we're back to using our first index law, nice and easy. We are used to this. There is an invisible 1 there. 5x squared plus 1. There is an invisible 1 over 3 there. Equals. Now what I'm going to do is 5x plus 1, 1 plus 1 over 3, which is going to be 5x squared plus 1. That is going to be 3 over 3 in order to get common denominators. So I'm going to be left with 4 over 3. So I'm now coming around to the last step. 5x squared plus 1 is 4 over 3. Highlight that. Highlight. Put a box around it. That's a perfect box there. Let's zoom out and look at all our progress. We were able to answer all those questions. Hopefully that was helpful in answering question 3 from exercise 13B.